Sunday.
It's Sunday morning.
I love mornings.
The games are over, and we're breaking it all down. This is your Morning After podcast, with all the insight and analysis on the Utes, Cougars, and Aggies. The Morning After podcast with Hans, Scotty, and Lloyd Cole begins right now.
And he gave us an opportunity to come in here and show what we're made of.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, good Sunday morning. Welcome in. It's another edition of the Morning After podcast. Scott Gerard, Hans Olsen, Lloyd Cole. We do it every Sunday morning. If you're new to the show, well, you and everybody else, we appreciate you making some time for us on your Sunday. We've got good, we've got better, and we've got ugly. So, Hans, let's start with the better. How about that? 8-0. The Cougars going to the bye week. What is this -1.5, -2 Central Florida nonsense that had us all spooked? This was no big deal for BYU.
Actually, let's not start with this. Let's start with this. Yeah.
Oh. By the way, you're still in Orlando, right?
Yeah.
Here,
if my coffee could make that sound, I would.
Hans, I'm going to try to match it, but it's here we go.
Okay.
That's a Coke Zero. I don't have the monster on me.
Boy, oh boy. Have we got some crazy stories to tell?
By the way,
these morning after podcasts or something.
If somebody from Monster or Rockstar is listening right now, that needs to be our title sponsor for the morning after. So if there's a distributing plan or somebody,
where's our old guy Nico?
Oh yeah. Come on. We need a little love. If anybody out there is listening to the Morning After podcast, tag Rockstar Monster and say, we need you to sponsor the Morning After podcast.
Yeah, where's Bucked Up? Anything.
Yeah.
Somebody step up. We're having to hit these energy drinks. I feel like I'm still driving from Ontario, Oregon, Scotty. I'm just like, I don't even know where I'm at right now. But, yeah, I'm in Orlando.
I'm in Laramie.
And you're in Laramie. Lloyd, are you in Montana? Where are you at?
I am, you know what, I'm not even going to say where I'm at.
West Side.
Oh.
Yeah, that's where I'm at, exactly. I'm at my home. I'm just at home.
Where are you at mentally and emotionally?
Nah, not in a good place, because it is really tough to try to shine a turd right now.
I was gonna start glass half full.
No, start glass half full. No, I don't want to start glass half empty.
It's really
I got to work myself up right now.
What did you say?
Really tough to shine a turd.
Well, there's no half empty. That thing's on E. That's like a Hans Olsen gas tank.
It is
on
like
I-15.
It's like nothing I've ever seen.
Hey, no. Don't you pull my gas tanks. And I like to run on E. I feel like I'm saving money somehow.
Why? Why do you like to do that? You know, I had to go. So I had to run into the station yesterday because we had some clock issues, and the car was my light had come on. And I was like, I'll hit the gas, on my way back. Well, I'm on my way back, and apparently there's construction, and the exit for me to get off where I would get gas was closed. So I had to go to a completely different gas station, and I barely made it there, and it was so stressful. Geez. I hated it every second of it. Oh my gosh.
Well, Scotty, I think you're right, man. Let's start with the glass all the way full.
Yes.
At 8-0. I cannot even believe that the Cougars sit at 8-0, an undefeated BYU football team. It is just incredible. And a lot of things went their way. And, guys, we can start in a lot of different areas, but let's start with this one thing because, Scotty, you, me, and Lloyd, we hammered it through the week. UCF was the number 3 rushing team in the country at 280 yards a game, averaging 6 yards a carry. They had 19 touchdowns on the ground. And we talked about this new quarterback, Ja'Cory Brown, who ran for 164 yards or 156 yards or whatever it was last week against Iowa State. And we said, all right, they got to contain Ja'Cory Brown. Guys, he ended up with 6 carries for 9 yards.
Jeez.
And this team ended up with 181 total rushing yards. They kept them 100 yards under their season average, and they just did it through straight discipline. R.J. Harvey went and got his. He had a 54-yard run. He had another big, long 30 or 40-yard run. And between those two, and like if you take those two off, then he's like 50, 60 yards on 14 carries. But he ends up with 16 carries, 127 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. R.J. Harvey is special. He's special, but he's a special player on a mediocre team. And Jakari Brown has no passing ability. None. Here's the other crazy thing, guys. First play of the game. Very first play of this game. The number one receiver, and really the only receiver for UCF, is a guy named Kobe Hudson. So so you understand like what he is to this receiving core. 26 catches for 503 yards coming into this game. The next closest receiver was your tight end. 14 catches, 177 yards. So Kobe Hudson is the target, the only target. First play of the game, he goes out injured.
Man.
And they had nothing to throw to. It was crazy. So Jay Hill does a great job just dialing up edge pressures. Scotty, remember I went through the depth on the run defense through the week and what they needed to do with their communication and their D-end linebacker exchanges. Those all looked really clean, really well done. I also talked about a lot of the pinch and then scrape from the defensive ends, which is what Lloyd's going to do after the Frank burrito. And
I was set up nicely by you.
Don't do that. Jeez. You know what? I can't tell you guys anything.
Oh, not on the morning after, Lloyd. You know better than that.
Jeez.
Oh, I love when I make myself laugh. And nobody knows because they don't hear it on the morning after. But they did a great job of just collapsing down and keeping their shoulders square and not turning their shoulders and really firing down. And Isaiah Banya was great at it. And what was crazy is the first couple runs, Jakari Brown tried to pull it, and Isaiah Banya or Tyler Batty or Harrison Taggart blew him up off the edge, and he's like, I'm not going to do that anymore. That sucks. and this is what you got, guys. I mean, 37-24 doesn't even really explain the depth of the whooping that BYU put on them. This should have been a 48-18 type game.
Well, you get those 2 touchdowns late to, again, like Lloyd said, put a little lipstick on that turd. But other than that, I mean, it was domination. We had it on in the booth as we were getting ready for our game here in Laramie. And I don't know if it was, Ian Fitzsimmons was the one who came on and got us all a little concerned about the game. And then I'm just watching score, stop, score, stop, score. It's like, we had nothing to worry about. What did we do? We're so
we're
Give
me
so
some of what Ian Fitzsimmons was
to
smoking.
Yep.
Yeah. It's PTSD, Scotty.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Totally.
The three of us have lived in this world of sports radio here in Utah I'm 18 years. Lloyd's at least that year more than that. And we just have gotten used to when everything looks real good in the sunshine, then all of a sudden you get stung and you're like, geez, how did I miss that? But this was a no-brainer, and BYU put it on them. Jake Retzlaff looked really good, guys. 230 yards passing and 2 touchdowns through the air, no interceptions. I love that. The rushing looked really good. LJ Martin was awesome, and he really only rushed the first half of this game. He had 101 yards in the first half, 15 carries, 101 yards, and a touchdown. We talked to him after. He's fine. But Hinckley Rapati came in and pretty much took the second half and went 13 carries for 83 yards, and they finished 48 carries for 255 yards against this UCF defense. And this UCF defense, remember, that was one of their only strongholds on the defense was their ability to stop the run. They held teams to 114 yards a game, and BYU blows the top out of that and pushes them all around the field to 255 yards. So it was just one good thing after the other. A couple of interceptions Isaiah Glasker adds 1 to his total. He's now got 2. And Satuala, a freshman at the safety position, perfectly positioned over the top when UCF was trying to make a push, and he steps into an interception. So they add 2 more picks to their total. I think that might be 16 on the year, if I'm not mistaken.
I can pull it up real quick here. Hold on.
It's either 14 or 16. I can't remember.
It's 14. 4 fumbles gained, 14 interceptions. 18. They're +7 on the turnover margin this year, which is just a ridiculous number.
+7. So guys grabbing picks and then if I had to encapsulate this one in kind of a phrase, I would call this the extra effort game. When I'm calling the game, Scotty, I don't know if you do this, but when I'm calling the game, I try to write notes of critical moments for the show throughout the week and for the morning after and also for half and post game when we're talking about this game. I got 10, 11, 12. I've got 12 notes of extra effort. 12 notes of extra effort. Guys breaking tackles, thinking that they're down, thinking that the play was over, thinking that the ball was incomplete, thinking that a guy was going to go down, and they just didn't go down. Everybody continued to fight, and Chase Roberts with his 2 catches. His 2 catches were the most critical 2 catches of the game by a long stretch. L.J. Martin, every time you thought he was down before the first down marker, just continued to chug his legs. It's just a special team, guys. Well, it is such a magical special team.
And winning kind
reminds me of that 1984 team, wouldn't you say?
Oh, jeez. Hans, can you compare that 84 team with this team?
Oh, man. I'm sorry, guys. I know I'm old, but I still was only 6.
If Jake Retzlaff played for that 84 team, would you see the same kind of production? So,
Sorry.
The winning just kind of adds to that too, because it's easier to make the extra play when you're 7-0 as opposed to 3-4. It's easier to give that little extra effort. The chemistry is a little bit better. Like, Matt Wells used to say, the food tastes a little bit better. The, everything just is a little bit better when you're winning. And right now, everything's just a little bit better. And then all of a sudden, things start to go your way. And, And again, I was just watching it in the booth. I haven't had a chance to go back and review. I'm still stuck here in Laramie. But Retzlaff, if I remember right, the play right before halftime where they scored, he airmailed a crossing route to a guy that was just open and just a bad throw, airmails it. And then on the next play, throws that dime on probably the hardest throw he's going to make of the day to Chase Roberts. And Roberts catches it in stride, turns it upfield down the sideline, and scores a touchdown. And it's just like, beautiful. Oh, wait, this dude's dialed in. Like, it didn't. One bad throw didn't throw him off. One bad throw didn't hurt the confidence. He's just like, oh, yeah, that one got away from me. And now I'm going to dial in this dime, and we're going to go up 17 at halftime or 14 at halftime instead of just limping in with a 7-point lead.
Yeah. Yeah. They went up 24-10, and it was that play, that throw, and then that extra effort. Again, just going back to the extra effort game from Chase Roberts, because he shook the tackle before he busted up that sideline, because that should have been a short tackle, and he just shook the guy down like he was taking off a pair of pants. It was pretty incredible. How about Kelly Popinga and the fake field goal? I don't know if you guys have seen the replays of this fake field goal, but let me kind of walk BYU fans through this. So BYU finds themselves in a 4th and 6, I think it was, or 4th and 7, and somewhere around the 30, maybe 35-yard line of UCF. I didn't see it coming. I was just thinking, BYU's going to take these 3 points. They're going to go up, 10 or whatever at that time. I think it would have been up 10-0. And they fire it back to the holder. The holder grabs the snap, puts it between his legs, fires another snap to a running Will Farron, the kicker. So it's just crazy. So the snapper snaps it to the holder snaps it to the kicker, and the kicker one hand catches this thing as he's sprinting out to his right. He's got a receiving option that's wide open. Nobody's even on the receiving option, but he goes and runs for the first down. We did talk to him about the fake in the post game, and he said they did see it on film. They did see that UCF was crashing their edges. They did feel like there was a potential to maybe get a fake field goal. They have not shown a fake field goal all year. And I said, well, why didn't you pass it? And he said, well, because it's run first option. So if I can run for the first, go get the sure first. He's like, there's no reason for me to try to throw it. He goes, I'm not.
Don't tell the kicker to throw the ball, Hans.
Because
the next time he's going to be like, well, maybe I should throw it.
Oh, maybe I will deep ball this. And then he buries it in the ground. But he runs for the first, and it's one of the wildest fake field goals, man. Have you ever seen somebody snap to the holder and then the holder snap to the kicker?
Nothing even remotely close to that. And it almost seemed like it kind of seemed a little bit like the, Kansas City Chiefs ring around the rosy. Like, we're going to do this just because we can do that, and we're going to remind you just how much better we are than all of you and rub your nose in it a little bit.
Oh, my gosh, I hate that so much.
Yeah. It was a bit of it was grabbing the dog by the scruff and making him smell his own feces that he put on the carpet. It was that. It was that, man. It was pretty rough. But it was really impressive. And, between all the numbers, holding them to the rushing yards and holding them to the passing yards, I know people are going to look at this 37-24, and the thing that sucks is maybe pollsters do it. I don't know, Scotty. You know pollsters better than I do. I wanted a 48-18 just pounding beat down because I feel like BYU needs to crack into the top 10 and start to prove some people wrong. And they're now 7-1 against the spread for Vegas, and every spread beat except for I think it was last week against Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
And 37-24 just doesn't quite tell the whole story because they put this Dylan Risk in. Fourth string quarterback, guys. It's the fourth string quarterback, and he threw for more yards in about 8 minutes of play than Ja'Cory Brown threw 3.5 quarters. He comes in for a quick 102 yards. And, yeah, there were some substitutes. There were some second-string guys, maybe even third-string. I guess Satawala might be considered third-string depth when Risk came out there. So maybe you were making some rotations. But there was a lot of starters out there, too, which I was hoping that they could keep him out of the end zone. But some late points that meant nothing. 14 points in the fourth quarter for UCF, as Scotty mentioned. That meant absolutely nothing.
Yeah, problem is that nobody ahead of them lost, so I think you're going to see them stay right where they're at.
That's all right.
Number 11?
Just keep winning.
At number 11?
Yeah, at number 11. Yeah, I don't think you're going to see them budge because nobody ahead of them lost.
Iowa State didn't play. Do they jump Iowa State?
I don't think they will. They probably should, but I don't think they will.
Judging by what we've seen, I don't think they will.
Yeah.
Is there any way, there's no way like a Notre Dame jumps them, right? Notre Dame getting
not after what Notre Dame did to Navy yesterday.
Yeah,
Notre Dame. Oh, after what Notre Dame
Yes.
jumps BYU. I'm sorry. Yeah, that could happen. That could happen.
And there was one other one that could jump them, and that is
LSU,
Texas A&M.
maybe?
Texas A&M, what they did to LSU.
That's what I meant.
Oh, LSU lost.
Yeah.
Sorry. So there is somebody ahead of them that did lose, but A&M they beat LSU. So I don't know. Maybe they moved to 10. I don't know.
Well, we've stalled enough, Lloyd.
No, get to the good.
No. We got to talk about this. So this game was
talk Aggies.
This game was going on at the exact same time as my game. So I'm coming into this a little bit blind here. So Lloyd, you got to lead the ship on this thing. Was Isaac, was he hurt? Was he pulled? What? I got two different stories as to what happened. Kind of walk me through the quarterback situation.
So he did get banged up. It would have been on the first drive of the second quarter for the Utes. It was almost like an Orlovsky moment where he almost ran out of the back of the end zone, and the defender throws him down to the ground, and he kind of lands on his left wrist, shoulder, a little awkwardly. Comes out, Derek Rose, Brandon Rose.
Might not be a bad option.
Brandon Rose, he comes in, but then Isaac Wilson comes back in, and he comes in, didn't do much more. Second half, 2 drives. Utah gets the ball to start the second half. 2 drives and nothing going. I think Kyle Whittingham had seen enough, and he pulls him, puts Brandon Rose in there. I don't think it was the injury. Whit didn't say that. He said they wanted a spark, so that tells me that it was not there was no injury, and that they were exactly that. They're looking to get a spark. So, and it looks like we have on the bye week an open competition. Essentially, that's what Whit said in the post game. There's going to be an open competition for who's going to be the starting quarterback against BYU. So here we go again. The story: who will be quarterback against BYU? And you will not know until Utah has their first drive against BYU.
And Sam Eward never even dressed, right? He wasn't even available.
No. So there are reports. Your 3 quarterbacks, as far as what was on I don't think Sam Eward. No, because your quarterbacks were Isaac Wilson, Brandon Rose, and Batari. Batari was your third string. Oh, I don't know what's going on with Eward. I have no idea. Not sure on that. So, and if he didn't dress, I don't know. Maybe he's transferring. Not sure. But right now, that's your 3 quarterbacks right there.
So Lloyd, I saw a post-game comment from Mekhi Bernard.
And I've got that actually pulled up for you. Okay.
Can you have it pulled up to play it?
Yes, we're going to play that cut because, there is something going on.
Scotty, have you heard this?
I have not heard this, no.
And me reading it won't do it justice. So,
yeah.
But this team, as we've said, like the last couple of weeks, like it's broken. Like everything is broken. Like Kyle Whittingham in the post game also said that, because he was asked, if the coaches are doing something a little bit, doing something different, and Kyle's like, the coaches aren't doing anything different. Like our day to day is the exact same, and he's just as confused as everybody else is to what is going on. I'll just say it's, I don't know. I don't think any of us thought that we were going to see how much. Maybe we'd see a spark with the offense, and maybe that was going to be a little bit of the difference. But I don't think any of us thought we were going to see a big change in what we were going to see offensively. And by the way, they opened up the game, their first drive, and you think, and their second play was a bubble screen to Brant Keithy for 71 yards, and again, their red zone offense is not great. Well, actually, they were 1 for 1 in the red zone, so not like they got there a lot. But so here's so Mekhi Bernard was asked essentially why it's fallen apart for the Utes, and here's Mekhi Bernard.
Can't answer that. I'm not going to answer that. I know what it is, but I'm not going to answer that.
Can you give us any insight as to what that'll be? Or?
No, I'm sorry. Can't. Sorry. Appreciate you.
Huh. There you go. He
said
knows why it's fallen apart, but he's not going to answer it.
Yeah. Scotty, any guesses?
Sounds like issues in a locker room for sure. This doesn't seem like it's a This isn't a talent standpoint. This isn't a player, not good enough standpoint. I don't think he's if it was injuries, he would have said injuries. There's nothing you can use that excuse and get away with it without creating problems. Sounds like there's conflict in that locker room. And, that's me speculating because he wouldn't say what it is. But when a player shuts it down like that, it sounds like there's a little bit of discord or, in fact, a lot of discord in that locker room.
Could there be some discord towards – this is some more speculation because that's what we're going to do here because we don't know what the answer is. He didn't give it to us. Could there be some discord with how the whole Cam Rising thing has gone down with the offense?
Sure, there could.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, and the amount of money that Cam Rising is getting to essentially not be there?
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay.
There could. And there could be discord with how things went with Andy Ludwig. And, I'll tell you something, guys. I've been a part of a lot of different football teams. And I've been a part of winning football teams, and I've been a part of losing football teams. And I cannot tell you, first of all, how much pressure sits on a football team to win. Like you're pressure packed to win because jobs are on the line, your job's on the line. My 7 years of professional football, I just felt like every game meant something to whether I was going to be there making money playing the game or be cut or fired or have coaches fired. It just sucks. The pressure sucks. So you've got all this pressure that's built up on winning. And when you start to lose, it's like somebody just walking into the middle of a crowded room and dropping a grenade right in the middle of the room. And you're looking at it and you're like, there's nothing we can do. I mean, it's going to all blow up. We're all going to suffer. Losing just destroys everything. So I'll answer the question for Mekhi Bernard. I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's losing. That's what it is. Now, losing culminates with losing your offensive coordinator and losing your quarterback and losing a couple of defensive players and losing, it all culminates into all of these things. But losing devastates a locker room. And you guys know Kyle Whittingham like I know Kyle Whittingham. The only option for him is to win. And when you lose, things get miserable and more miserable and more miserable until you're forced to win because that's just what he does. And losing is so unacceptable in that program that I think it's melting it down a bit right now. Guys don't know exactly how to get out of this mess.
They haven't been in this situation. Well, they haven't been in this situation since 2017. Like that, I think that year they lost 4 straight at one point, and they haven't been there in a long time.
Yeah,
they've been the top dog in the Pac-12, and they were expected to be the top dog in the Big 12. So this team doesn't know. I know we joked like none of these players were on that team in 2017. I know Frank joked that he thought Cam Rising was a junior in 2017, but none of these players know what it's like to lose like that. They've won. So, yeah, they're in a bad spot. Yeah.
Another game for Utah without a sack.
Yep.
What's going on with the defensive rush? I'm mostly in the same boat as Scotty. I mean, by the time I finished postgame and got back to the room, this game was over. So
Chris was elusive.
I will go watch the film. But.
Chris was elusive, and by the way, you knew exactly what Houston was going to do. They were going to, and Utah just couldn't stop it. They were going to run the ball. I mean, they ran for 228 yards, and they couldn't stop them. You saw Connor O'Toole was back. He was back in there, and you saw him get after the quarterback a little bit, but he was elusive. And yeah, it's another game. So that's now 4 games in this losing streak where they have exactly 1 sack in this 4-game losing streak, and that is not something that Utah is used to. They had, I think they got a couple turnover. 1 turnover, I should say, and so yeah,
Jonathan Hall.
Jonathan Hall. Yep, that was the 1 turnover they actually got. I think at one point there was a fumble that was on the ground and it just you think that they're going to be able to grab it and they couldn't, and it's just like they just can't get all those turnovers, and I mean that's the other problem. And so and as far as on the offense, exactly what the defenses are doing.
Oh yeah,
like they're loading the box and they're just saying, hey, beat us through the air, and guess what? They're not beating them through. They can't do it. It's just they know what they have to do, and they can. The offensive line was not good. The pressure was there on Isaac Wilson. There was no Mokofisi, and I believe Mokofisi's replacement. I'm going blank on his name. He went out as well, and they know exactly what's coming. And they're loading the box, and they cannot. There's nothing they can do about it.
This box score is wacky.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at this. Houston's passing. Zion Chris ended up with 61 yards through the air. You had 6 catches total from 6 different receivers. Not a single receiver with multiple catches. Every receiver with 1 catch. Not a single repetitive catch from a single receiver. That is wacky. And 6 receptions for 61 yards, and they find a way to win this game. It's another one. Remember, we were talking about this. Just score 27 points, and Utah's undefeated.
Yep.
This is another one of those games. Like, just score 18 points, and you get the win. It's not that hard. Utah
was up 14-7, and they're going for it on because they third down, they do a little draw, and they got like a yard and a half, and it's 4th and 6. I'm thinking. I mean, you knew they were going to go for it when that was their play call. I was like, wow. I think they thought they were going to get more yardage, but they didn't, and they still went for it on 4th and 6. And it was a Wildcat like himself. And he just you knew he was going to run it. You knew he wasn't going to pass it because, as you can see, 6 of 13, he's not really a threat through the air. And sure enough, he runs, and they have him. Lander Barton has him dead to rights. Like, he has him and whiffs badly, and he gets the first down. And then they go on to score and tie it. Yeah.
Oh,
no. You go watch that play. He barely got his jersey, and you can see the jersey, rip. And if you're Lander Barton, you're the caliber of player that Lander Barton is making. You got to make that play. That's up to you. You got to make that play, and he led the team in tackles. So, but yeah, you're gonna see that play, Hans and Scotty, and you guys will be like, wow.
And then a Rose interception.
Go ahead.
Allows a field goal, correct, to end the game.
Yep.
Was it Rose or? Oh man. So it was Rose that threw the pick that led to the field goal position for Houston. Is that right?
Yes, with a minute, 2 minutes under. Yeah, 2 minutes. It was right about the 2-minute warning.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep, that was the drive. Rose interception, and then and I thought to myself, it was a 43-yard try, and I was like, oh my God, because it was one of those painful games to watch. I'm like, this is going to go overtime. They're going to block it, and they'll probably still lose because that's the way it's been going for Utah. And no, he sinks it. Sinks the 43-yarder, and that's all she wrote.
Hey, Lloyd, what happened with Isaac Wilson fumble that he lost? It says he's got 2 fumbles that he lost 1. Was that a strip sack, or what happened on the Isaac Wilson? So there was one that he fumbled that it could have almost been like a forward pass. But they didn't review it, and he hurried up and went and jumped on it. That one that you're talking about I actually thought it was kind of an interception. I couldn't quite tell how, because it never hit the ground. It was popped out of his hand, and somebody caught it and took it for about 20 yards, I think, 30 yards. But it never hit the ground. So me and Frank were thinking, we were trying to figure it out last night. We were trying to figure it out because it was that, because I thought it was an interception essentially, because it never touched the ground. Mm-hmm.
So no, that was kind of what happened on that one.
Do you think Isaac Wilson deserved to be pulled?
You know what? I'm not going to fault Kyle for trying to find a spark of some sort. Like he wasn't good. I will say they tried to.
Okay.
Judging by what the play calls were, because how many times have we seen the bubble screen this year? Maybe once.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple times. Not much. It hasn't been a big part of it, and they even broke out the swing pass a couple times, a couple screenplays, and that's the swing pass. He was terrible. Like he was. Yeah, and the thing is, if he completes it, they're wide open. They had guys in front of him, and they're going to be big plays, and he was overthrowing them, or he was throwing it on the ground at their feet, like he could not hit them. So I will not fault that Kyle is trying to he's just trying to find a spark, trying to
do something.
I mean,
yeah,
it's just trying to. I mean, they weren't doing anything.
Yeah,
they couldn't get anything going.
Boy,
offensively, they weren't moving the ball.
We've never seen anything quite like this.
So
now we saw the 2 5-7 seasons, but we kind of knew what those years were.
Yeah.
This is different. We've never seen this in the modern Kyle Whittingham era, and this is uncharted territory. And when you mentioned Kyle doesn't know what to do, or is like we're trying to find answers here too. I think that's true because there's a lot of experience that Kyle can rely on and things he's like, well, when this happened back in 2007, we did this and this and this. I don't think there's a lot to pull from here. And this coaching staff, things have usually gone pretty well. They've always been the toughest, meanest bullies on the block. And now they're getting punched in the mouth and they can't respond. And there's some kind of issues going on in the locker room, whether it's NIL or whatever is related. And I think this coaching staff's like, holy smokes, what do we do? Like, how do we fix this? And I think there's a lot of people looking around, not saying that they won't, because honestly, as weird as the BYU-Utah rivalry is, this is setting up for a Utah win over BYU. Just as weird as this rivalry is. I obviously BYU is going to be heavily favored and should win this game. But I'm just saying, as weird as this rivalry gets, this is the kind of year that Utah beat BYU by 20 points. But it's just something that this bye week has got to be a lot of soul searching, and I'm sure there's going to be a high level of physicality, and there's going to be a lot of that, but also just a lot of like, all right, what we're doing isn't working, and we got to find a way to figure it out and figure it out fast, or we may not even be going to a bowl game.
Yeah, I think Witt's trying to, like, when I say he's trying to find he's trying to find something, just something, this little positive heading into the bye week, heading into the BYU game where he can go like, okay, there's something there. I've got something. I think we can work with that. He's just trying to find something, and that something is not presenting itself.
All right. So Utah's got issues. BYU's got issues. It'll be interesting. Do you know if there's going to be a press conference for Kyle, or are they going to take the week off and do it next Monday?
You know what? I feel like
usually he doesn't.
I'm not sure on that. No, I don't think he'll be doing one.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Especially after this, there's no way. He talked in the post game for like 5 minutes, maybe. And there's no way he doesn't want to talk again about this.
All right, let's move on. I'm here in Laramie. Utah State went right down to the wire, and a walk-off game-winning field goal of 40 yards as Utah State snaps their 6-game losing skid, beating Wyoming. Aggies were in control of this game. It felt like at halftime. They scored 10 quick points to end the half, and we're up 17-10, and then the offense just went cold. 3 straight 3-and-outs, but this defense for Utah State, which has had some major struggles, kept giving up these big, long drives, but we're only allowing field goals. And so Wyoming cuts it to 17-16, and then they get a fly sweep that goes for 53 yards. Score a touchdown. Utah State responds with a touchdown of their own. Wyoming kicks a field goal. They've got a 2-point lead. There's 1:19 left to go. And Spencer Pietris leads the team down the field. But, Hans, you'll like this. There's a 4th and 3. to keep the drive alive, and Utah State's at their own, I want to say, 36, 37-yard line.
Oh,
and what do they?
boy. Okay.
And guess who comes out on the field? Bryson Barnes on 4th and 3 for Utah State. And the pig farmer, they were running a little bit of an RPO for him, and the play gets blown up. And you're like, uh-oh, he's dead to rights. And what does he do? He's like, I'm just going to scramble and find a way to get 5 yards when I need 3. Moves the chains.
Oh, my gosh.
Petrus comes in, throws a beautiful pass to Grant Page to get, get about 20 yards, and then they add another 10, 15. And Tanner Cragen lines up the field goal and just splits the uprights. That would have been good in the Arena League, as straight as that thing was. And Utah State gets the win, 27-25, and the streak is over. Mercifully, Nate Dreiling and his crew get the W.
Hallelujah. It is so nice
Wyoming
to see these guys
is the greatest slump
win.
buster there is.
Oh, man, it was a really fun game. Utah State still has a lot of issues. Defensively, they gave up way too many yards, way too many points. This is not a good Wyoming team. Hans, you saw this team. And they pulled was Savoda your guy for the whole game against BYU?
He was.
Well, they pulled him at halftime, and they went with this redshirt freshman who's going to be a much, much better option for them. This Caden Anderson's a much better player. And
Svoboda was terrible.
Well, we had our a little bit of story time. We have our crowd mic that's outside of our booth, and it caught a lot of BYU or a lot of Wyoming fans, and let's just say they don't like Savoda, and so Savoda comes in and he's miserable, and they're not scoring any points. They bring in Caden Anderson in the first half, and that was the plan all along. They were going to give both quarterbacks some reps. And Caden Anderson comes in and leads them down to a touchdown, kicks a field goal, and so all of a sudden it's 10-7. Well, Utah State goes down, kicks a field goal, and with about 1:50 left, they put Savoda back in. Well, what does he promptly do? He throws an interception and gives the ball back to Utah State, who end up turning that into a touchdown and take a 7-point lead. And when Savoda throws that interception, all hell broke loose in that stadium. And I've got Ajay's, not, well, he's looking around and I don't know what he's doing, but all of a sudden we're hearing F-bombs just coming out over the broadcast. And I'm like sprinting over to the thing trying to turn down the crowd mic because that sucker's right in the middle of that Wyoming crowd. And as you would imagine, Cowboy fans have some colorful language, and they were not happy with their quarterback.
And there's not enough of them to have the collective noise because you can still hear the individuals in the crowd because there's just not a collective. I could see how that could be a major problem. And Savoda was terrible against BYU, and I'm surprised that they continued to ride with him as long as they rode with him. But, Scotty, I want to know a little bit about Rashul Faison because you lose Jalen Royals, and you've got some injuries, and you have to call on, and you had another running back that gets injured, and you have to go to Rashul Faison and talk a little bit about him.
He was just really good. Now, a lot of those yards came in the first half, and he was just getting chunk carry after chunk carry, and then they stacked the box, and they're like, you know what, we understand Jalen Royals is going to be gone for the year. We understand Brock Lane, the tight end, is going to be gone for the year. Those are your two big offensive targets through the passing game. So we're going to take them out, or we're going to take your running game out. And they did. For the most part, they hemmed up Rasul. He had a couple decent carries in the second half, but most of that damage came in the first half. And so they really focused in on the run. And Petrus was able to generate a little bit in the passing attack down the stretch, but for the most part, Wyoming just locked in Utah State defensively in the second. But when they did need to get some big yards on that final drive, Rasul came up with a couple receptions and then a big run to really get them into field goal range. So he's really special. And I understand Genty's the best running back in the country, and he may win the Heisman, and certainly it's the best running back in the conference. But there's not outside of Genty, there's nobody in the Mountain West that I've seen that I'd take over Rasul. He's just such a dynamic runner.
Man. want to see good things for these guys. And, now you get the bye week. You got Washington State. You got Hawaii, San Diego State, and Colorado State to finish. I mean, I still think there's a couple wins in there to finish. And
well, outside of that Washington State game, every other game's winnable. And I know Colorado State's 5-2. They're off to a good start, but I don't think there's any reason why Utah State can't win every game left on the schedule, outside of maybe that Washington State game. And obviously they're going to have to run the table to even get bowl eligible, and that's a big thing to ask of this team. But I tell you what, Hans, I'm sure you've been part of teams that have been kind of on that losing skid and things aren't going well, and then when you finally break through and you win, just that level of just getting that big old monkey off your back and just being able to breathe. Yeah. It was just really fun to see these guys last night.
Full relief. And, watching social media, watching Coach Dreiling and watching Coach Bassett and watching these guys have an opportunity to, send a couple of tweets, and, they're talking about the gun that they take home between Utah State and Wyoming. And it's just like, it's so gratifying to see these guys have a moment of reflection and the ability to say, man, okay, so it was worth it. Because the losses, stacking up 6 losses, it has to feel unbearable as a team, especially the one against Bronco, losing it in the last minutes like they did. So I'm happy for these guys to find the win and now get this bye week and go do some good things to finish out this season.
Yeah, not thrilled that Utah, BYU, and Utah State, all three have a bye week on the same week.
Crazy.
How screwy is that?
Yeah.
What do you say the three of us take the week off?
That's what I think. I'll see you back here
You know
next
what?
Sunday.
Yeah, I feel like we need to. We've
plan.
been really grinding, so I feel like we need to, rest up.
This football season's really taking a toll out of me. I'm going to take some time.
Lloyd's already had that week off scheduled for last month.
No.
Lloyd still has 2 more months of vacation days to blow through.
I do. Don't
It's
worry,
almost,
December's coming.
Lloyd, did you have a baby this year, Lloyd? It's like,
Don't you dare.
How's that
Don't.
baby?
No.
how's that baby?
Oh, boy. Hey, story time on my end. My Brody's with me, 13-year-old, and he and I are going to the Broncos game today. So we're going to go see a little Broncos-Panthers.
Nice. Can we get a headset on him?
I only have one headset, so no, because I'm not letting you guys talk to him without me having the ability to listen and see what's going on. So no.
Oh, we won't do anything. Stop it. Come on.
No, last time I did that, all of a sudden trendsetters came to the forefront. So no.
Something that we worked on for 10 years.
I am so excited that you guys get to go watch a Broncos game and go watch a Broncos win. I'm so excited for you
Lloyd,
guys.
I'm not putting up with
No,
that.
I want this for my guy Brody. I really do.
No,
he
you don't,
deserves
Lloyd.
to. No, I do. No, he deserves to see what me and my boy Xavier got to see when we went to go see the Raiders and the Chargers. That overtime thriller to get into the playoffs. Like, he deserves to see something like that. Like, I want him to see something like that.
I can.
It is amazing when you get to see it. No, I'm being serious.
I cannot stand you right now. You are.
You want him
It's
to
one thing for
lose
you to
and-
try to jinx me, and that's fine. I'm a grown man. I'm a man. I'm
But
47.
not my boy.
But not my
My boy.
13-year-old. Come on, leave him out of that.
I am. I'm being serious. I want him to see it. Like, the joy I got to see. In fact, I'm going to send you a couple pictures from Xavier.
Did I
Like, to
just
see
hear
the
Brody
joy
yell, "What?"
on his
Yeah,
face. Brody, I want this for you, buddy. I really do.
Yeah,
I
hey,
want this.
Brody, you're
I
going
want
to
you to
get
get
the
a
first
win.
thing you're going to get after a loss is you're going to get a text from Lloyd
Yep.
rubbing it in.
Nope. There's no reason they shouldn't beat this Carolina Panthers. I mean, they got Bryce
Young.
Bryce Young's back in there. This has got a W written all over it.
This is
I'm
about as
excited for
dirty
you
as
guys.
you've done, Lloyd.
Hey, Scotty, after this win, I want another video where all you do is just write "hi" on papers. Make sure you write Florida South on it. And then a
Can we
crying
do?
face.
I got story time.
All right.
I got story time for you. So
let's talk about that
the
burrito.
Raiders. No, no, I don't want to talk about that. But okay, 2 story times then. So should I? And we'll keep this real quick. Should I be mad at Frank or happy? I mean, Frank was a good dude. He brought in a burrito, and I was like, oh, that's nice, thanks. But should I be mad at him that he brought me such a terrible burrito that I have been up all night? Like, it was such a bad burrito. Like, the thought was great, but
did it taste good, or did you know immediately it was funky?
It did not taste good. Like, it had no spice to it. I was like, what is this? There was no bite
burrito?
to the burrito. No, it was not. It was. I'm not going to say what it was. I'll tell you when we stop recording what it was. But it was so bad that I ate like a fourth of it, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't even gag this down. And so I had to toss it. It was so bad.
But yet it's still wreaking some havoc, huh?
And it's wreaking some havoc, yeah. Even just that fourth was enough to make me sick.
You're such a lightweight, man.
Yeah, you still gotta love Frank for at least thinking about
Yeah.
you.
I do.
You gotta
I do.
appreciate
Frank
the
is a good
gesture.
man.
Hey,
Okay, so
okay.
go ahead.
No.
No,
Sorry,
go
I
ahead.
was going to make a Harry Potter land joke, but go ahead.
Okay, so I'm getting ready to leave on Friday, and of course I run into our guy Rusty,
Oh, geez.
and of course the Raiders play the Chiefs, and I get the. So we're gonna do our bet, Lloyd, and I'm like, well, are you gonna give me points, Rusty? No, straight up. And so I was like, Rusty, are you serious? I'm like, why don't I just buy you lunch, and then you can just kick me in the pills? That's what that. I mean, are you being serious? You're not going to give me points?
Hey, Rusty, just go spin the oldies, bud. Like,
really?
Oldies.
He asked, I'm sitting there, and he's like,
involved.
"Hey, Lloyd, are you going? You want to make our lunch bet?" I'm like, "Are you serious? I don't even know what the Chiefs are favored by right now."
Going to be a lot.
Let's see. I'm pulling it up right now. Let's see. They are.
Chiefs fans are insufferable, man.
They're 9-point favorites.
Oh, geez. But a straight-up lunch bet. Yeah, hard pass on that.
A straight-up lunch bet. I'm like,
How
why
much
don't
do you
I?
wanna
So you
bet?
just want me to buy you lunch?
How much do you want to bet his alarm is just Taylor Swift? Like, shake it up, and he wakes up like, let's go, Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, they're the worst. It's just the worst.
I can't do it anymore.
You
I
didn't
need
do
that
it, though,
team.
did you? Because usually.
No, of course not.
Okay, because the last couple times he's still gotten you to go along with it.
No, I stopped. After the first one, I was like, okay, and I'm like, okay, you're not giving me any points. What? You're just essentially just getting a free lunch. That's all you want is your free lunch, Rusty. No, I'm not doing it anymore.
And you already owe me
honest
lunch,
with you.
too. So
It is souring the workplace. He is souring the workplace with me right now.
you should call
It's not
HR.
good. I'm going to.
No.
Trying to gamble on the workplace? Are you kidding me, Rusty? It's illegal.
Well, gents, I got to start to pack up. I get to head over to the great Orlando airport. That Orlando airport's kind of a rough business, man.
Oh, yeah?
It's not. Yeah, and trains that go everywhere, gates that are 10 miles apart. At least you don't have to walk it. That's the one nice thing. But I'm going to see if I can get myself out of the land of Harry Potter. No, Scotty, I did not take an impromptu trip to Harry Potter land, although I would love to go ride Hogwarts Magical Adventure or whatever it is. Is it Hogwarts? Or what's the Hagglewurts? Who's the professor?
Don't act like you don't know.
I really don't know.
Don't act like you don't know.
You got Dumbledore
No, that's
over
the
here.
name of the ride.
Yeah.
It's the name of the ride.
I know you know, so don't. And by the way,
don't.
judging by the picture that you, Rebel, and Mitchell took, you guys look like you just got off of riding on Hogwarts.
Oh, man, that booth was tight. That's the smallest booth I've ever been in my life.
By the way,
how small it was.
I probably killed 20 flies in that Wyoming booth, and there was still 800 of them that were flying around like crazy,
like a horse
And next
pasture,
time,
like a cow
next
pasture.
time we come to Wyoming, let's bring one of those fly traps that you attach to the ceiling and pull down. Just leave it right above our heads.
Oh man, that place!
You need a pack of fly swatter.
They did say they're tearing it down, so and they're building a new one. So we'll see if that improves things a little bit. But man, what a cesspool that place is! Holy smokes.
I've never been in a media booth where I feel like the floor is going to fall out. Like I could actually feel the floor bending and creaking under my feet. And I'm like, jeez, man. I'm going to go Tom Hanks off Money Pit and come through this floor. It was that place
I've
does
never
need to
been
be torn
there.
down and rebuilt.
I've never been there, but why am I visualizing like it looking like the Wyoming Downs?
And I've never been to Wyoming Downs, so
So you guys wouldn't even know. Okay.
yeah.
Hans, have you been there to Wyoming Downs, or have you at least passed by it?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
Okay.
There's a fishing
All
hole just past Wyoming Downs that is one of my favorite fishing holes. It's a 3.5 hour drive, but it's great ice.
Is that where you
fishing.
guys
can
almost
fish
got
for
stuck?
tiger trout.
Is that
Yes,
where Rock
it is.
almost died?
Yes, it is. Well, yeah.
Which
false
time?
Names.
Yeah.
False claims.
All right, gentlemen, have a good Sunday. We'll be back at it Monday at high noon with a lot to break down. Utah struggling, BYU riding high. Utah State gets the nice win, and we'll talk about it coming up tomorrow on the show. You'll hear from Nate Dreiling. You'll hear from Kalani Sitake, and we'll revisit some of the post-game comments from Kyle Whittingham as well. It's your Morning After podcast. Remember, subscribe to the Hans and Scotty feed. Leave us a rating. Leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you. It's all available for you at wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Hans and Scotty, and you're good to go. That's it for us. Thanks for listening. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This has been your Morning After podcast with Hans, Scotty, and Lloyd Cole. Catch more of the Hans and Scotty Show weekdays from noon to 3 and in podcast form by searching Hans and Scotty on your podcasting platform of choice. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.